National anthem, please. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's so good to have you here with us today. Buenas tardes, bon après-midi, Jian Hao, Eka Son, Inaini, Oloroka, Ehihioma, Maino, Mokom Ekomdo, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us from different parts of the world today. It's so good to have you here with us at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council for today's policy dialogue session. Surprisingly, before we start, I'd like to announce to everybody that July, NIGAC became 1 year old. Thank you so much. Also, today, interestingly, we're making history as we are bringing in some very, very heavyweights to join us today on the policy dialogue series. I'm talking about very, 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 very prominent persons with us today, some heavyweights. And surprisingly, NIGAC is making history today as all of our panelists are all women, women who are doing strong and great things in the society, women who are breaking bounds and shining the torch forward for everybody to join. On the panel today, we have some eminent Nigerians who have offered to share some insights today on our policy dialogue series today, interestingly. And I'll have you join me as I read out their citation today. With us today, we're having Mrs. Buki Banasco Akinsamoye. We're also having Mrs. Tina Banku Agbo. We are also having Mrs. Arinola Oloko. Mrs. Tina Banku Agbo is the SSG, Secretary to the State Government of Cross River State. While with me also today, we're having Mrs. Arinola Oloko, who is an educationist and politician. Also with us today, we're having Mrs. Buki Banasco, the head of pursuits for KPMG. Briefly, I'd like to take you through their citations. Mrs. Buki Banasco Akinsamoye, a relationship management and operations professional, experienced in finance, operations, and project management with over 10 years work experience and history. She currently works with KPMG in a commercially focused role with operations and business development as head of PP pursuits, clients, and markets. Thank you so much, Buki, for joining us today. Next, Barrister Tina Banku Agbo, an erudite Amazon who recorded a major milestone as the first woman to be appointed as the secretary to the Cross River State Government, following her appointment by His Excellency Senator Professor Benedict Ayade in 2019. She is a lawyer by profession with specialization in property development and management, coupled with a wide range of business acumen, including politics, and has within the period proven that she is eminently accountable. Thank you so much, Her Excellency, for joining us today, ma. Lastly, we'll be having Mrs. Arinola Oloko. Ms. Arinola Oloko is an educationist and politician, one of Lagos' top private Montessori school owner, who has successfully run a business for the last 25 years. She holds a master's degree in public health and a former candidate for the Lagos State House of Assembly under the platform of Social Democratic Party. We will recall her altercation briefly with Senator Oluremi Tinubu during the Senate constitutional hearing some 3 months ago. Mrs. Buki Akinsemoyin Banasco will be speaking to us on achieving financial inclusion for women as a way of promoting equal society, while Barrister Tina Banku Agbo will be speaking to us on attaining a gender equal society. How feasible is that with respect to human rights in Nigeria? While Mrs. Arinola Oloko will be speaking to us on the girl child education as a way of fostering an inclusive society for women in STEM and politics. So we're going to take it in same direction, where we take Mrs. Buki first for 10 minutes, then we engage in another 5 minutes of question and answer session. Then we'll take Her Excellency by Tina Banku Agbo for another 10 minutes, then 5 minutes of question and answer. Then lastly, we'll take Mrs. Arinola Oloko for another 10 minutes and 5 minutes for question and answers. So please, I would recommend that we all use the comment section to to post our questions, and I can assure you that it will get to the right person. Just briefly about NIGAC before we proceed. NIGAC is a Nigerian Global Affairs Council, is a technology-based and digital media-driven public policy and evidence-based research think tank focused on policy concerns that revolve around governance and public administration within the Nigerian state and how we interact with the larger world. Once again, my name is Abraham Onoja, Director of Public Relations for the Nigerian Global Affairs Council. Mrs. Buki, are you with us today? If you are and you can hear me, could you please turn on your video, please?
Hi, Abraham. Yes, I can hear you. Sorry.
Thank you so much. It's so good to have you with us today.
Yes, I'll just turn on my video as well, and I'm hoping that does not affect bandwidth or anything like that. Okay.
Oh, so wow, you look great today. We can hear you.
Thanks, Abraham. And you can hear me clearly, yes?
Clearly, I can hear you clearly. It's so good to have you with us today at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council to do justice to the topic.
Hopefully. Thanks, Abraham. So I think for me, first of all, I really want to thank the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, NIGAC, and especially you, Abraham, for giving me this opportunity. So thanks very much for that.
Thank you so much.
So I'll go straight into the topic for me today, which is achieving financial inclusion as a way to promote a more equitable society. So just start with a bit of a preamble, to set the context. What is financial inclusion? It's been thrown around a lot. Gender equality, how financial inclusion can support gender equality. So what is financial inclusion? And for me, thank God Google is everyone's friend. It's right there on Google. Financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is the availability of opportunities, availability of equal opportunities to access financial services. So which simply means whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're rich or you're poor, whether you live in Lagos or Maiduguri, we should all have equal opportunities to access financial services. I would now go, so talking about the topic, how do we achieve this? Let's even go first of all, before we even think of how we achieve it and what the recommendations are. let's even start with what some of the barriers that we're facing to achieve this agenda. So for me, coming from the UK and, moving back to Nigeria about 2 years ago, I think what I've seen in my experience as some of the barriers has been, there's a widening gender gap in Nigeria, which, I mean, even within Africa, I think Nigeria shows up as one of the worst countries for that widening gender gap. We also have low levels of sometimes lack of income in our female gender. We also have low levels of education. Now, there's a clear link between these three. So a widening gender gap, low levels or sometimes lack of income, and low levels of education. There's a clear link between these three. So we have social cultural drivers and gender expectations that can lead to women having less income and less education than men. And there are clear examples of that. We have things like the child bride. We have things like, when a woman gets pregnant, when she has a baby, she takes about 3 months. I think in Nigeria, it's about 3 months you take off. And sometimes you're not able to come back to work. So you end up, looking after the family. While you're doing that, men are obviously progressing their career. Other barriers that we face can also be, little financial literacy, especially within women. And it's something I'm quite conscious of, because even growing up, I remember my dad he was quite intentional about giving my brothers lectures on financial literacy, whereas, or even introducing them to his business. He was quite intentional about that. Whereas his daughters, no, don't worry about that, So there's little financial literacy in most women. We also have the lack of ID to prove identity, which you need to access a lot of financial services. Insufficient required collateral is also another one. And I'd like to give another example here. I've got a really close auntie who has got an established business. She's got a home, more than one home. She's got a great property portfolio, has a car. And in the past 6 months, she's been trying to start a business in waste management. You need to get a truck and then start the business. And I cannot believe the barriers she's facing, to do with collateral, where even up to now, she hasn't been able to start that business. And then finally, one of the barriers I've also identified will be very low levels of trust in the financial services industry. So I'll just move it on swiftly now to, recommendations on how we can overcome some of these barriers and promote more of an equitable society. So some of the recommendations. So for me, because I have a finance background, I'm very into data. Everything is about data. So for me, it's about, okay, we want to make a change. Well, before we even make that change, where are we at this point? Where do we want to get to? What is the roadmap? What do we need to do in that roadmap to get to where we need to get to? So that's a big thing for me. So for me, one of my first recommendations will definitely be collecting and analyzing sex-skewed data. And when I say sex-skewed data, what I mean by that is looking at our data and slicing it to the female representation of that data. So collecting and analyzing sex-skewed data is the first or crucial step to address women's needs. So data can help us to identify levels of income, education, what do we women even feel? What are our feelings and our trust levels in financial services? What are the marital status of these women? And this will help get insights that can then create, the right interventions to correct what needs to be corrected. Now, for the data, I think regulators can lead on this. They don't have to be the only ones, but they can definitely lead on collecting and analyzing this type of data to develop, a customized value proposition tailored to women's needs. And simple examples, I'm a lover of simplicity. It doesn't have to be difficult. simple examples of how we can use this data to develop customized value propositions are, let's have simplified accounts. Every time I want to log into my online banking, it's just like, okay, I'm trying to transfer money. What am I trying to do? There's so many pop-ups, so many sections. So simplified accounts. Let's have alternative collateral methods. I spoke about my close auntie who till now is so struggling to, start up this waste management system. And she's someone who's established, she's established her business and everything else. Talk less of a woman who's lower income. So let's have alternative collateral methods. You cannot ask someone who's lower income to provide the same collateral you're asking someone who's a higher income earner, And definitely let's have favorable interest rates. So again, I'm coming from the UK where, loans are very much still in the single digits, especially in the low single digits. So coming to Nigeria has been a shock for me, where the interest rates on loans, for example, are quite on the high side of double digits, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19%, I think. And what makes me laugh is that my dear bank still calls me every month. Oh, ma'am, Mrs. Akishemoye, you're doing really well in your account. Do you want to take a loan? I'm like, I would love to take a loan, but how am I going to pay it back? At double digits? No. So let's look at more favorable interest rates. So that's, I think, for me, a first recommendation, using data to create those interventions that we need. So you can understand what women feel, what women need, so that we can create the right interventions. I think we also need a more fluid interaction between women and financial services. So especially for lower income women. This is a digital ecosystem that sort of ensures a positive experience. The ease of opening bank accounts and managing those bank accounts, access to complementary services, low cost, or ideally no cost at all to basic banking services. And let's call a spade. If we have to do it, say no cost for lower income women, and maybe look at it on an income structure, then so be it. I feel as if every time I touch my bank account, I'm being charged. If I use POS, they'll charge me. If I transfer money, they'll charge me. If someone pays money into my account, I get charged. I'm constantly getting charged for everything. So let's look at, either no cost or really low cost, just the basic financial services. I think for me, the third or last recommendation will be, we need more women CEOs in more decision-making positions in banks. So this is definitely something that's required to close the gap. Gender equality as a whole, we need more women to be able to close that gap. Fortunately, we have seen that. So on social media, all over social media last week I think it was about 6 or 8 newly appointed MDs in some of our first tier, second tier, some of the traditional banks. Fantastic news. I want to see the fintechs also take a lead on this. Let's have more CEOs, more women making decisions, more women making decisions for women. It's simple. So for me to close today, I would like to just, put out there that my belief is that it is the primary function of banks to lend money to participants in the economy. That's sort of, they're there forced to deposit money and for them to be able to lend money to us. And I cannot understand how women are so underrepresented as part of this equation, even though evidence has shown that women are less of a credit risk than men, yet we're underrepresented for reasons I've mentioned and many others. And I think something else I want to point out, would be personal, is women, we traditionally run our homes, we're already running a budget. We're already running a profit and loss to ensure the survival of our families. I have 2 kids. My youngest kid literally thinks she has come to this world to eat. I cannot imagine end of the month, I say, oh, sorry, mommy doesn't have money to buy snacks this month. It's not gonna happen. I have to budget. I have to run my P&L to make sure that I'm providing and my family are surviving. So we already have those skills. So I think for me, I'll just finish by saying, financial inclusion of women to create a more equitable society is certainly a no-brainer for me. So that is where I'd like to end today. Hopefully, if there are any questions, happy to answer them. So thank you, Abraham.
Buki, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Abraham.
Okay,
yes.
can you turn on your video again?
Of course.
I think we'd like to still see your face.
That's fine.
Thank you so much. That was detailed enough, I can tell you, for free. I had to note down a few things while you were talking, and I'll start from the credit risk. That's women, women supporting women with the whole six within the financial space, where we have six MDs that are women of several banks, and then the educational standard, and then financial point of view. So I'll take my questions from these very four points I just mentioned. So first, women supporting women. So I know, as much as we try to run away from this, we still have the political system that actually still determines quite a lot of things. Today now, for example, in Lagos, there's curfew, because that's a government decision. There's an election going on as we speak. So that's how much of influence political decisions have on our day-to-day living, everything we do. I mean, how do I put it now? The security of lives and property is still on the government, on the leaders. So let me ask this question from 2 points of view. First, are women willing to support women? That is one. Secondly, from women supporting women, if we have more women in leadership positions, so I'm not just talking about the financial space or fintech companies, but I'm talking about politics. Will women support women to excel within the political space? I'm talking about the whole electioneering processes, the election in itself, and post-election. So we have before elections, the elections proper, post-elections. So these are two questions of me trying to ask women supporting women within the system, basically.
Okay.
So, what would be your thought on that?
Yeah, so for me, my thought is, I mean, I cannot speak for every woman, but I think it's very evident. There's so many NGOs, organizations, if you go on social media, so many examples of where women are willing to support other women, you know. Definitely the government can help by setting the right infrastructures around that as well. That would be a big help. But I think women are willing to support other women. In my circle of friends, I don't think I have a friend who is not already mentoring another person, you know, either with less experience or younger than them. I have mentees in Nigeria. I have mentees in the UK that I'm still mentoring today. I say it without any reservation. I would not be where I am today without my people like female mentors and female sponsors that have really given, not just speaking for me, but giving their time to help bring me to where I am today. Talking about going to your second question about the political side. In fact, I have a great example, and she's on, she's part of the panel today. As you know, Abraham, I have I wouldn't say I have political ambitions, but I just want us all to get our PVC cards and make sure we vote for the right person, because I think that's a big part of how we're going to change the country. So, you and I talk a lot about politics. And I've been, when Mrs. Okolo, who's on the panel today, when that issue happened with Remi Tinubu and everything, I remember sitting in my sitting room, standing ovation and clapping for her. Fantastic, fantastic. And
that's a woman to a woman. We did the same political system, not another state, but same state.
Sorry, I missed that, Abraham.
Mrs. Tinubu, for instance, is from Lagos State. She's a senator in Lagos State.
Yes.
We have Mrs. Arinola Oloko, who is also a Lagos politician in Lagos State.
Okay.
So, no, I'm just trying to buttress what you're saying.
Okay.
Talking about, giving her applause and all of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're saying Remi Tinubu and Mrs. Okolo are sort of in the same. Exactly. And look at what happened there.
Yes.
So I guess that's an example of a woman not supporting a woman, but I don't want to leave it there because I would like to use the example of you connecting me to Mrs. Okolo. And I remember messaging her and thinking, of course, she's never going to respond to me. She responded. Me and her met within a week of her responding. It was a fantastic meeting. I'm new to this country, new to the political, well, not new to this country, I've just moved back, but new to the political system. And she took me through it till today. We talk about politics. So she does that with me. I'm doing that with my circle of friends. So I think we all want the same agenda, right? We all want a better Nigeria, right? So why would women not support women? But yeah, that example of, I don't want to keep mentioning her name, but Mrs. Remi Tinubu or Senator Remi Tinubu is not an ideal. But I think that is mostly an exception. I think in general, women want the same thing. We want a better Nigeria for ourselves, for our family, for our children, for the future generation, for the youth. So I think we'll support each other to do anything to make sure we get to where we need to get to.
That's a very beautiful closure you gave there. But just a further dive into the system. So I get what you're saying, where you have women who they manage the family, better managers. So if given the opportunity, they manage other things in a very, very different dimension, maybe better than even most men, because they bring in very different and new perspective into a whole lot of these things and all of that.
They bring in empathy. They bring in commitment. Yes.
Thank you. I wouldn't want to say everybody's bad within the system. Why I'm actually asking this question, and I just want a brief of your comment on it, still within the political spaces. So we have people like Diezani, for instance, who is a woman within the political space.
Yes.
I don't want to go in details, but we all know how that ended.
Yeah.
We also have Patricia Ete, the former Speaker, House of Reps.
Okay, I'm not sure I know who that is.
Yes. So this is another woman who, it was rumored. I wouldn't want to put anybody, because this is live, where they were a bit really, really extravagant with public resources and government funds in terms of accountability, transparency, and basically dipping their hands into public resource and not being able to account for them. What would be your recommendation or your comment or advice to maybe a whole lot of other women who are listening, who also have very good intentions like yourself for the good of Nigeria as a whole? What would be your comment? Bearing those two people in mind, there are a whole lot of others also, but these are just very few examples of women in politics. So what would be your advice or recommendation to other women?
So maybe I won't say advice or recommendation, but my comments. So I don't know the second lady you mentioned, but I know
she was the former Speaker of the House of Representatives. We have the Senate and the House of Representatives. She was a former Speaker who was she was removed shortly after all of those issues came up and all of that.
Okay. So I don't know her story, but I know Diezani's story very well. So I think you already probably even answered the question and hit the nail on the head. Accountability. It's accountability, isn't it? I joke with my family, for example, no, miss, when I become governor, I'm going to, no, I'll do what I have to do, but I'm going to pocket some and, maybe buy myself this or buy myself that. Accountability is key. Again, where I am coming from, the UK governments, they're not holier than thou. They have their own issues. I'm sure we all read about Matt Hancock recently and the affair he had with one of his aides, where even the Prime Minister came to defend him and, something about he hadn't done anything wrong. What still happened? Matt Hancock retired. We need accountability. We need people that are going into government knowing that if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, the people that voted for me, I have to answer to them. I could lose this position. It's as simple as that. Look at Desani today. I mean, I haven't followed it recently, so unless, I don't want to say she's been charged, you know, I'm not a lawyer, anything, but what's happened? She's in the UK. You know, she's wherever she is, not in Nigeria. Has anything happened with that case? Not that I know of. Where's the accountable? Where's she taking the accountability for that? Where's she answering the questions to money that's been embezzled? Who's making sure that happens? So accountability, I think for me, is the key to this, yeah.
But let me ask this question. I mean, so I see Interpol and co having to arrest maybe like Nnamdi Kanu, Igboho is currently on trial and co and all of that. So what if tomorrow Interpol decides to arrest her wherever she is? Even though I hear she has dual citizenship now and co. If she's arrested and brought back to Nigeria to give account of her stewardship in office, are you sure we will not hear women association and all of that coming up and maybe saying, there's a witch hunt, okay, there's something going on about women, okay, just few women in politics and even the few who held political office, there's a witch hunt and all of that. Are you sure we will not hear comments like that very soon? So, it's Nigeria. I won't want to quote, but a former governor of an oil-rich state,
that's the example I was going to give.
He was jailed. And when he got back, there was a carnival. Yes. I wouldn't want to say just a few people went to welcome him, but there was a mini carnival in that state to welcome him back to the country. And he holds the political structure in that state tightly like this. I even saw a picture recently of a senator kneeling down to beg him.
So did I.
Yeah, so I'm asking now, if she's extradited back to Nigeria, are you sure we will not hear conversations of this sort?
So to be fair on her, I need to be fair and balanced here, okay? We are looking at it on one side. We had she embezzled money, yeah? So what do they say? Guilty or innocent until proven guilty, yeah? So to be fair, yeah, I think it's okay if women want to welcome her. If that's what they want to do, great. I was going to use the example of Ibori. I was in the UK when that happened, and I could not believe that the red carpet was being rolled out. Okay. Until today, I don't know what's happened with that story. So that's fine if women want to support her. But I think, again, let's go back to our government. Yeah. We need our government to put structures and, in fact, there's nothing they need to put in place. It's already there. Let her go through a fair trial. And let us really understand, is she guilty or is she not guilty? Okay. So I think that's sort of the end goal, whether people want to support her or not. And I can understand people wanting to support her. You know, she herself has probably supported a lot of these women and they've only seen the good in her. You know, that's fair enough. But I think the end goal is, let us be able to decide, is this woman guilty or innocent?
So away from public trial, be the whole social media trial thingy. So let her face a court of competent jurisdiction and answer to her crime. If she, I mean, with fair hearing. If she's innocent, you allow her go. If she's not, she's made to maybe face whatever penalty.
Pay the consequences. Yeah, exactly. And we can do it because I know we've done it for some of the. I don't want to name names for our self-determination. I can't name names, you know, we've got Sunday Igboho, we've got Nnamdi Kanu. So if we can do it on that side, why can we not do it on this side? Do you understand? So yeah, that's what I would say to that.
So you mentioned earlier about the credit risk thing where women are, there's a way you put it just now, you're talking about credit risk and women are, there's a way you put it, I can't remember.
So evidence shows that women are less credit risk than men, which
Thank you. So why are we having issues with the whole 60% or 50% women in politics, where if you have ministers that are 10 should be women. If you have 15? Why can't we have 10 or 9 or 8? So I'm asking this question because so if women have this lower tendencies, I mean, of embezzling funds or as better managers, so why are we not getting the government to get them to get more of them into office, we're supposed to have the secretary of state government, who is the first woman SSG for Cross River State. That's Barrister Tina Bankwa. So, I mean, when you find there are a lot of these people around, you are one, we have a lot of them, even within KPMG and other places. So, why can't the government find some of these persons and then maybe make them managers, make them heads of parastatals, more of them, agencies and all of that? I mean, just recently, just because a minister disagreed with a head of parastatal disagreed with somebody, she was removed. And I did not hear anything about it. I'm talking about NPA, for instance. She was removed, and nobody's saying anything. So, I mean, so we are saying women supporting women. Coming from a state like Kaduna State. So, first, why can't we advocate for more offices? I know there are organizations and co that are actually on the neck of government to do more in terms of appointing more women into political offices. That is one. So what are women? I mean, so I just gave this example again. Why are they not also airing or giving a voice to this push?
I think women are. I probably think your other two speakers might be able to answer this particular question better. I think women are. Okay. Maybe I'll use my personal experience again, where when I have tried to come in my political ambitions, and I cannot believe, I don't think you're probably the only person that has, maybe you and Mrs. Okulo on the panel, that have sort of encouraged me. No, definitely go for it. But it's been very politics is not for women. Do you know what you're going to find there? Married women, so there's a lot of negative talk around it. And if you're not strong and determined, it can really put you off. And then I think you also mentioned something else there. So, you're watching the House of Assembly, for example. I'm struggling to see the female representatives. I'm like, where are the female representatives? And then, unfortunately, Abraham, the female representatives that we do have, the best example that comes to mind was during the pandemic, where one of the female representatives had used palliatives for her birthday celebration. So the ones that we do have there, we need to increase the quality of the people we have there. And I think the truth is, where we are in Nigeria now, if you're male or female, not even just female, male or female, if you're trying to get into politics and you have good intentions, the barriers you face, it's like a thick wall. It's like almost you cannot get in. And they smell you from far off. They can smell you from far off. So I think there's lots of barriers there that need to be broken down. But we need to be able to break those barriers, put in good people that have good intentions, that don't want to rule the people, but are coming in to serve the people. And I think once we start, again, like the banking sector, who would have ever thought? I think it's 8 MDs. Who would have ever thought we'll have 8 female MDs in the banking sector? So it started 1, 2, 3. Now we have 8. How many major banks do we have in Nigeria? So we need to build it small by small way. People with good intentions come in there so that those people can then, again, women supporting women, pull women with the same intentions and goals and objectives as them into the political system. But I think politics in Nigeria these days, it's just everything, the actions, the conversations, the discussions around it, it's not the most favorable. It's not the most favorable for women. I think that's what I would say to that.
I think.
Hello, Buki, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
sorry, I didn't know I mistakenly mute myself. So
That's
I said what we are facing right now is a situation where the SSG, she's trying to join back now. She's actually
All
at
right,
the airport
okay.
to welcome the governor.
Fantastic.
Oh, she's with us already.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic. All right.
Barrister,
Thanks,
thank you so much, Your
Abraham.
Excellency,
Bye-bye.
for joining us. Thank you so much, Buki. Excellency, can you hear me? Sorry, can you unmute, please?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. So good to have you with us, Excellency, man. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you
Sorry,
doing today, man?
I
I know it's
joined
been
in
busy
late.
at your end. Yes, I totally understand,
I
man. I know
joined
it's
in
been
late.
busy.
Please understand with me.
Yes,
Where are we
we
now?
do understand. Yeah, so we're actually going to take you next. So for everyone who is listening, we have with us Her Excellency Barrister Tina Banku Agbo, the SSG, that's Secretary to the State Government of Cross River State. And just briefly before she speaks to us on attaining a gender equal society, how visible is that with respect to human rights in Nigeria? Just briefly, Mrs. Barrister Tina Banku Agbo is an erudite Amazon who recorded a major milestone as the first woman to be appointed as the secretary to the state government of Cross River State, following her appointment by His Excellency Senator Professor Benedict Ayade. She is a lawyer by profession with specialization in property development and management, coupled with a wide range of business acumen, including politics, and has within the period proven that she is eminently accountable. Thank you very much, Her Excellency, ma, for joining us, ma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so Barrister Tina Banku Agbo will be speaking to us on attaining a gender equal society. So, Barrister, over to you, ma. You have the floor, ma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
First of all, I'm sorry that I joined in late. I had arranged myself to be here right on time, but that's one of the problems. I mean, when you are seated in this office, you really don't have your time. Your time is controlled by His Excellency, your boss. So I was given another assignment and I just got off that now and I managed to get to you. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you so much, man. Not a problem, man.
Yes. But to come back to what we're talking about, attaining gender equality. Yes, it's feasible. But the gender, the female gender have to also tell themselves that they want to get the 50%. It is going to be a deliberate action by the female to crack that ceiling, because nobody hands over power to anybody. You really have to fight for it. It's a difficult fight. And as a woman, we must accept the fact that for now we live in a man's world. But we have to prove ourselves that we are capable of doing what men can do, maybe even better, because we are thorough. Men may have the determination to do what they want to do, but they are not as thorough as women. Even themselves accept that. In a home where there is no woman, no matter how strong the man is, the house is not organized. So in a macro organization, saying the house, we can take that over to the general society, to a higher level of a higher seat, say holding a better political office, a higher political office, and we can do better. Like I said, women have to just say, you're coming in with loads of integrity. It is not easy. Finance is a problem. Finance is a big problem. But what can we do? We need to come together and support each other. That's another problem I see with women. We hardly support each other. But I tell you, I mean, we have said it so many times that women are about 50% of the population. If 50% of the population are women, then what are we talking about? Let 50% of the population come deliberately to vote a woman to be a president. It's possible. If women come together in groups and we say finance is our problem, and we come together and say every woman who is of income gaining level should put in 1,000 naira a month, 500 naira a month together. We will raise the funds, but we have to just collaborate. That's what I say. But it's not easy. It's a difficult task because women, we really still have a long way to go about supporting ourselves. I don't know why, but that problem is still there. I wish it's not, but it's there. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mark, for that opener. Thank you so much once again. So I want to start the questions segment this way. So I'm happy you are a woman in holding a very strong political office in a state like Cross River State. Now,
Yes.
we have examples like you and other persons in the society who are doing very amazing work. I mean, in terms of delivering dividends of democracy to the people, and then being able to also advise their principals. So I'm talking about governors and presidents on how best to go about some of these things, and including more women. Now, I want to ask a very critical point, which you have actually mentioned. Women make presidents. Women make governors. Women make, I'm talking across board, almost all electable office holders. Just today, so there's an election going on today at Lagos State where they are trying to elect local government chairman and councillor. And then I went downstairs briefly at about 7, 8 a.m. this morning just to vote and also check what's going on. And I realized that about 80% of the people I met there were all women.
Correct.
Now, there is a woman in another party, but they have chosen somebody else to support. I'm talking women supporting women. You're a woman with examples of this sort. What can we do, or what can be done differently to see how women can support women? I mean, women are presidents today. Women are governors in places, and they're doing quite a lot of amazing things. So what can we do to see how women can rise up, take the challenge, support women in offices? What can we do, man, to bridge that gap?
That is a tax, and it's not an easy tax, but it's something that I'm sure most women in high-level positions are trying to put together. I am doing the best I can, and I'm sure other women at higher levels are trying to do their own bit, because we have identified that fact that women, for whatever reason, get worried about their fellow women. That I don't know why they don't support them. But we are doing this and putting women together. Just like you said, I'm a politician. When I do elections in villages, the people that actually vote are women. The men in remote areas go to their bushes, drink their palm wine, play their drafts. They're not interested in what we are doing. But it's the women. If you go to a political gathering, for it to have color, you will see women in different shades and colors, and to make the place enjoyable and colorful. But we need to also tell women that, look, for your problems to be solved, it needs to be solved. It needs to be a woman, because it's only a woman that understands that a widow does not have to be left stranded. It's only a woman that knows that a widow is entitled to the husband's property because they own it together. A man will not see what we are saying. A man will not see. Only a woman will understand that, look, if you want to divorce your wife, then leave her in the house. You go out, leave her with the children in the house. But unfortunately, I think there's a high percentage of uneducated women who have not understood that you have to follow a better educated woman to be mentored. So what the problem is, we come back to men. Men are wanting to keep women in that position. That is a position of not being knowledgeable, so they can continue to subdue them. So some of us who have tried to get out of that circle, we have to just put ourselves together and keep talking. keep talking. Because if you have a local woman who is glued to her husband and her husband says, no, we are supporting man A, she doesn't have any independent authority to say, no, I won't follow my husband. I have to support Mrs. B, Mrs. who is a woman. No, she just follows her husband. So the women education, continuous education, create awareness, talk to them, empower them, give them a bit of freedom, financial freedom, so they can take decisions on their own. There are lots of women, a good percentage of women just can't fend for themselves. So who are you to go against somebody who fends for you? You just can't. So we need to create that independence. It's only when you create that independence that you can support a woman freely, or you can even persuade your husband to support the woman that you are supporting. I can tell you, even for me in my position, before I became what I am now, it wasn't an easy task. My real enemies were women.
Exactly.
It's bad enough that I have men running against me. It's bad enough. But you would think that you want to run to a fellow woman. But no. She would rather support what the man that she's close to has told her to do. So like I said, it's not an easy task. I fought it for 21 years to get to this point. I started politics in 1998.
Wow.
I fought it for 21 years. I did everything you can imagine to get to this point. So it's not an easy task. Any woman who wants to come to politics, but don't come with the mindset of it being easy. It's not. And come with loads of integrity. I keep saying that. Loads and loads of integrity. Come with resilience. You must find some finance. Because, like I said, in power and politics, power is not handed over. You really have to fight for it. To this minute, I'm still fighting for it. Wow. To this minute. So, I mean, when I'm coming, the men have realized that this woman has become a man. So we fight with her on equal basis. You have to put yourself in that situation for the men to begin to see you as their equal. But if they don't see you as their equal, they find another way to subdue you. You know, men do all sorts to subdue you, including blackmailing you. So you have to be careful. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so thank you so much, man. I like one thing you said. In fact, even Chimezie Ude Chukwu said something. He said he re-echoed what you said, which is power is not given.
No.
It is taken. It is taken. I mean, I've had this over and over and over now, where it is said that power is taken. Now, with considering our level of education now in the society, so before I even ask the question, many thanks to your boss and your government for having empowered I think over 10,000 or 15,000 appointees.
Yes, together we have about 30,000 appointees.
30,000 appointees, yes, ma'am. I was going to ask that question. I think that's even the largest appointment recorded in Africa so far. I haven't heard anybody who has that amount in terms of appointment. How are you able to sustain that? How are you able to manage that? Because I served in the state. I served in the deputy governor's office precisely, if you can remember.
I know, that's where I know.
Exactly. So I can remember all of the intricacies and all of that of politics and all of that. So I'm just wondering, in relation to scarce resources, in terms of being able to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people, and then you have a governor with your support who is able to empower 30,000 people. I'm talking about salaries, entitlements, allowances. I'm just curious, man. How is there something else the government is doing that maybe we don't know, and all of that to be able to get resources? Yes.
Well, first of all, my governor is a special man. I see him as just out of this world. because he's a humanitarian person. And he's a confident man. I tell you something, only confident people, very confident people, men appoint women. Men who have complex don't want to get women near them because they want to subdue the women. So he's a very confident man. And it's by the grace of God that he became a governor that I got here. Otherwise, I would have still been counting my 20 whatever years. And he is very, very concerned about the well-being and the welfare of people. Somehow, we call him the magician here because we wonder ourselves. You will understand that we are number 35 on the list of subvention in this country.
Wow.
35. We don't have oil wells anymore. Akwa Ibom has taken our 36 oil wells.
I know, yes.
We really don't have any income. Our state is not a commercial state, it's a civil service state. But he came in with his ingenuity and is doing everything. We call him the magician. Me, I just call him magician because we cannot even understand how he does it. Everybody is paid as and when due. We don't owe salaries here at all. We don't owe pensions. We don't owe any of those things. Sometimes you even employ more teachers. And to crown it all, he has built 34 industries, mega industries. The purpose is for him to introduce entrepreneurship into Cross River. As you may know, you haven't served here, you know that we have the Ayadesian economic theory.
Yes.
You remember?
Ayadesian.
That Ayadesian economic theory, the culture is called Ayadism. The economic theory is a combination of Adam Smith, and the Keynesian theory, economic theory, where in a recession where there's lack, that government should be the big brother to spend money so money can go back to the society and recirculate. In his words, he said that's a situation where you pay people to dig holes that you don't need and you pay some people to cover them back. But the important thing is these two groups are paid. And if they are paid, what happens? The money goes back to the society, to the market, and it revolves around. Instead of holding it and say you should rather. Hello?
I can hear you. I'm with you.
Yes. Instead of holding it and saying you should rather decrease employment, retrench, if you like. No. So that's his style. And hopefully, the vices in the society, the criminals, when you're a hungry man, is an angry man. That's so when true. All these people have eaten, we call it food on the table. Everybody has food on the table. So there's peace. It gives him the peace now, the calmness to now think of how to get ourselves out of this economic recession. That's why he's building the industries. Hopefully, by the time we finish, all these 20,000 whatever people will be now absorbed by the industries. And now they have jobs. And we will move from a civil service state to an entrepreneurship state. So we have the spirit of enterprise now.
Wow.
So that's the magic here. We call him Giant Alabu.
On that. Wow. That's amazing. So I know a lot of people who are listening will be wondering why I'm asking this very direct question. And why I'm asking is because this is a woman in the government. We have other women, a whole lot of other women. I know a couple of other commissioners who are there, a couple of other appointees, heads of
7 women commissioners.
Exactly.
We have
who
7
are
women
commissioners.
commissioners.
7
Yes.
women commissioners. So this
And
fits back
most of us are reappointed. We have 2 tenures.
exactly.
I'm the longest
Two.
serving SSG. This is my 2nd reappointment. It doesn't
And
happen
a
easily.
woman. And
And a
a
woman. Yes.
First woman, for that matter.
First woman,
reappointed.
longest serving. And
Wow.
with all the fights, it's not
more
easy.
kudos. You deserve more kudos, honestly.
Yes.
So, finally, I just want to ask. So, joined in on this webinar today, we have a lot of women here who are doing amazing things in their capacity. Before you spoke, we had Buki Akinsamoye, who is the head of pursuit for KPMG. We are supposed to have Mrs. Arinola Oloko, who is an educationist and politician in Lagos State. And then we have quite a lot of amazing women. Just to mention a few, we have Amanda Obidike, amongst a host of others on this call. So I want to know, man, these are women who are doing amazing things in society. You are in government. You are a practicing politician. What would be your recommendation for the women on this call who are hoping one day they also get into governance or political offices and are able to right a lot of wrongs first? And the men who are here also, what would be your closure to them in terms of supporting more women in office? Because on this call we have people here. So what would be your recommendation, just in closing? What would be your comment?
All right, thanks. For the women, politics is sweet. It's hard, but it's sweet. In fact, when you get into politics, it becomes an addiction. Yes, because like I told you, I had done it for 21 years. I wasn't getting anything, but I kept doing it and spending money. So I just got addicted to it until today. So come into politics is not as dirty as you think. But when you come into it, you will realize that that is the only way you can empower your people. You can make changes. If you sit back and criticize and complain, nothing is really going to happen. So just come in so that we can at least create a critical mass, a lot of women in politics. Men will begin to reckon with us. And for the men, please take a cue from my super digital governor, my ultrasonic, the hypersonic governor of Cross River State. The giant Alakuku of our time. Be confident. Appoint a woman. Once you appoint a woman, you can sleep with your 2 eyes closed. Our ambitions are not much. Our loyalties are 100%. Imagine what you do to your wife and she still stays there. If she does it opposite, I'm sure you will cry. But she takes it. We have resilience. We can take it. So women are the best position, confident position. Any confident position you need, put a woman, you can sleep. I'm the secretary to government. I keep all the books of government. I mean, for me to be reappointed, a lot of people blackmailed, but the man who was wearing the shoes knew that, look, I'm not ready to try something else. I know what I had the first tenure, so I'm not going to gamble. Women are good. Men, please. Like somebody said, why will you fly an aircraft with 2 engines and shut one off? Women are educated, they are intelligent, they are subtle, they are loving, careful, perfectionists. Why don't you just take them in, let them help you, so you don't die under the weight of too much work alone?
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Her Excellency, for joining us today. It's been amazing. It's been wonderful having you join us today to shed more light and insights on these questions, and to be part of. This is the first time NIGAC is holding an all-women panelist session. All women.
Okay.
That is one. Secondly, this is also the closure of Which Way Nigeria. It's actually a policy focus series where we've been discussing Which Way Nigeria. We've hosted the likes of Femi Adesina, we've hosted the likes of Femi Ekekwe, we've hosted the likes of Professor, a host of other persons who have come in, senators, House of Rep members who have come in to share their thoughts on how to move Nigeria forward. And I'm happy today to say that your voice have been added to quite a lot of others who are clamoring for a whole lot of changes in the society so we can align ourselves with what's right, and then try to get things done in a proper way in Nigeria, because we see a whole lot of these developed countries, and then we see what they do. Just to mention a few, have Patutomi, Sheikh Gumi, Jafet Omojuwa, amongst a host of other persons. So thank you so much, Her Excellency. I know how busy your day has been so far, because we've been talking, so I know how it is. So thank you so much for joining us today. And for everybody out there, I know we have learned one or two things today. Thank you so much for joining this session today. And we hope to catch you next month, where we'll be having a new topic entirely. So thank you so much, everyone. Once again, my name is Abraham Onoja. I'm the Director of Public Relations for Nigerian Global Affairs Council. Just in closing, for those who don't know, we would like to talk about the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, which is a technology-based and digital media-driven public policy and evidence-based research think tank, which is focused on policy concerns that revolve around governance and public administration within the Nigerian state and how we interact with the larger world. So thank you so much, everyone. So good to have you with us today. And in closing, we will take, it's already past 3. We'll just in closing take the national anthem right now as we plan to call it a day here at the NIGAC. Thank you so much. So we'll take the national anthem right away. Thank you so much. So we'll take the national anthem now. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, we love you. Please have a nice day ahead. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you for having us. Good job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a good time.
Right,
Thank you, ma'am. It was very insightful. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Well done, Abraham. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right, bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.